Hey everybody, it's Ben here, and I just got a brand new electric car, which I was very excited about. I posted about it on social media, and one of the responses that I got was, well, that's great, but electric cars are expensive. When are electric cars going to become the same price as gas cars? And the person listed, for example, a Honda Civic, you can get those in the low $20,000. When are electric cars going to be like that? And I realized I don't even know how much a Honda Civic costs. So I thought, let's look it up. Let's find out. So one of the first things that I did was I went to fueleconomy.gov. And what that is a cool little web page by the US federal government where if you're looking for a new car, it's just really a great place to start because you can learn all about the fuel economy of different models of cars. You can compare them to each other. And right here I have a 2023 Chevy Bolt EV and a 2023 Honda Civic. They're both the base trim. Nothing special about them, no options, nothing like that. And then I also went and checked out the official web pages for both the Bolt and then also for the Honda Civic. Because again, there's a couple different levels of trim. Another thing that I found out is they list a starting price, but you actually have to really look around to see what the real price is. So I went through and I did a build for both vehicles to get an actual number. And the other thing to keep in mind is that almost always there's going to be some sort of a destination fee or a freight fee, something along those lines. And that's never included in the MSRP. So I went and I found that as well. And I started putting all this information into a spreadsheet. So here we go. This is the information that I started. The lowest trim level for the Chevy Bolt was $25,600. And for the Honda Civic, 2023 Honda Civic Sport, that was $25,050. So they're actually really pretty darn close already. Now, of course, there's also that destination fee hiding in there. So we have to add another about $1,000 for either of those vehicles. Now, of course, for electric vehicles, there's also a tax incentive, although some of that's kind of confusing right now. So I added a line for it, but I'm not putting it in here at all. But if we just add up the base model car for a Chevy Bolt EV and the base model Honda Civic, they're pretty close in price. $26,595 for the Bolt, $26,145 for the Honda Civic. Really close there. And we're using the Honda Civic here in this example, one, because that's what somebody else was comparing it to. And it's very commonly used for examples of a well-built, fuel-efficient vehicle. Thinking, for example, well, if you weren't driving an electric car, you're probably the type of person who would at least drive a fuel-efficient one. So in this case, and we can grab this info from fueleconomy.gov, our combined fuel economy on the Honda Civic is 33 miles per gallon. And so I've got that put in here. And then for the electric car, it gets 28 watt hours. It uses 28 kilowatt hours to go 100 miles. And then we can do just a little bit of math to compare the two fuels based on cost. Now, the other thing is we need to know, well, how far is the car going to go? I actually track my own miles for business. You may or may not. But one of the things we might want to do, for example, is just pop in like an average US standard number. Now, actually, if you're in the US, how much you drive does vary based on your age, whether you're male or female. So I just took all of that as an average, and it's over 13,000 miles. And it often gets simplified, actually, when you're taking a look at these stickers on a car. For example, the fine print here actually uses 15,000 miles per year. But the important thing to remember here is this is just a number that we're popping in, and we can change this. So if we go back to our spreadsheet here, I'm going to use number of miles per year, that 13,000 some number. And then if we know that we get 33 miles per gallon in the Honda Civic, a little math tells us that at that 13,000 some miles, it's going to take a little over 400 gallons of gasoline. Now, of course, we need to know what gasoline costs. So keep in mind, I'm making this video at one particular point in time in very early 2023. I'm in Wisconsin, so I was just going to use that. And right now, around here, our gas prices are a little over $3, $3.09 1/10. We'll just round that to 309. But if you go to Gas Buddy, that's a great place to check out gas price information. So over here, we'll put in our average cost of gas as $3.09. So now we can do a little bit of math and we can figure out how much it's going to cost us for gas every year. Now, actually already over on, this type of a sheet, it gives us a round number, and that is $1,400 per year. But let's, with a little bit of math, just based on the fuel economy of the vehicle, the cost of gas right now, I get $1,261.84. Now, let's say gas goes up. Let's say it's $3.50 per gallon. Boom, automatically updates. Now we're getting closer to $1,500 per year on gasoline. But the other thing we have to think about is what's the cost of electricity for the electric car. Now, in a lot of places, electricity is about 14 cents per kilowatt hour. And again, if we know the vehicle's fuel economy, we know how far we're driving, we can do a little bit of math. And in this case, for going the same number of miles, that electric car is going to use about 3 3/4 megawatt hours of electricity. That's a fair amount of electricity, but fortunately electricity is pretty inexpensive. So at 14 cents per kilowatt hour, it's going to come out to be $528 per year. Well, that's not bad at all. And actually back, if we look on our kind of the window cling for my Chevy Bolt EV, it says, it'll cost you $600 per year. So again, that's kind of a rough estimate, but it's not bad based on some of our actual math right here. So let's say there's some other variables. I'm going to put gas back at $3.09 per gallon. Let's say you're not average. Cost of gasoline, cost of electricity varies a fair amount depending on where you are in the United States. So that's why I put in my exact gasoline cost, but I also want to put in my exact electricity cost. For example, what I do is I only plug my car in at night and I'm on a time of use program. And at night, electricity is really, really cheap. I can just plug in the car, it's on a timer, and it doesn't start automatically charging until the cost of electricity goes down. And that cost is 6 cents per kilowatt hour. So if I update that number, holy cow, we're looking at $226 per year to fuel an electric vehicle, going the average number of miles an American drives. That's cheap. That is cheap to run an electric car. And if we look at the difference in price, this total vehicle cost, paying $226 instead of $1,331 per year, that's, getting to be significant difference. And then in fact, if we, just start adding up what this comes to every year. So what I did is I took the cost of the car, so at purchase, around $26,000 for each car, but then what it cost every year for fuel to add in there, we can see that the numbers for the gas car start going up a lot quicker than they do for the electric car. And in fact, what I did was I said, this will be great. What we'll do is we'll plot this. So I made a little chart here. We've got our green line, that's the Chevy Bolt, and the red line is the Honda Civic. And actually, if we look really close, The Chevy Bolt is more expensive at first. Right when you buy it, actually, it does cost a little bit more. The green line here, it's a little bit above the red line, not by much, but a bit. And then our cost over time, because of fuel, is going to go up, but very minimal for the electric car. Whereas if we look at the red line here for the gas car, it's going up and up and up. And the difference between the first year and year 8, it's starting to be significant. And in this case, how it is right now, it's over $8,000. Or basically, I save about $1,000 per year in fuel by driving an electric car instead of a Honda Civic. Now, there's a lot of other information we could pop in here as well. I did do a line for oil changes and other maintenance. Let's put that at 0. Let's say you get free oil changes for your Honda Civic. And if we take a look again, that didn't make that much of a difference there. I wasn't putting in too much money there for oil changes. But there's some other things too you got to keep in mind, like that an electric car. You're never going to have to replace the exhaust system. You're never going to have to replace a head gasket. There's just so much less maintenance with an electric car. Now let's also go back to those tax incentives, because up at the top here, I got a number and I put incentives in for both cars. This is going to be a negative number because it's a discount. Now, I just bought my car a week ago. I was able to get a $2,000 discount through a third party. It was specific to electric vehicles. And I fully expect to be able to get that $7,500 federal U.S. tax incentive. So together, that's going to be negative $9,500. Now, can you get some sort of incentives for a Honda Civic? Maybe. You've got the, what do they call it? The brand loyalty bonus or something. You might be able to get some sort of bonus, but definitely not a tax incentive for driving an electric car or other incentives specific to electric cars. And some states actually have some pretty good incentives too. Mine doesn't. If I lived in a different state, in theory, I could have actually gotten more discount than that $9,500. So now when we figure that in there, that total cost of the vehicle to start with at purchase, it's basically about $17,000. That is significantly less. So with a tax incentive, we're way less than a Honda Civic. Without it, we're just barely more than the cost of a Honda Civic. But right away within the first year, it already pays for itself just in the savings by not buying gasoline. But now also, if we take a look here, the electric car with that tax incentive starts way lower than the gas car, and it stays way lower than the gas car. But even without it, we beat it so fast, it's crazy. Now, let's take a look at something else, though. If I had bought a different car, one that I would have loved to have gotten would be a Tesla. Tesla makes some amazing cars. The Model Y, really fantastic car. Now, it's kind of a different category. There's a lot of amazing features with Teslas. They have a fantastic charging system, hop in, drive across the country, everything like that. But it's also a more expensive vehicle. And so when I looked at the price, and you actually go in the details, make sure to disregard, oh, here's how much you're going to save in gas. Just look at what you would actually pay for a cash price. That's going to be the $65,990. And of course, on top of it, there's also that destination fee. So if we punch that into our little spreadsheet over here, I've got it already added in for our Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive long range. The purchase price on that is a little over $67,000. Now, what else is interesting about this vehicle is it's almost the exact same amount of efficiency as the Chevy Bolt. It's 28 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. So basically, fuel is going to cost the same. Whether electricity is more expensive or less expensive, the cost to charge the Tesla Model Y and the Chevy Bolt is going to be pretty much nearly identical. But because that car is just so much more expensive to start with, we kind of end up with a difference in price that we can kind of never recover from. So here, the green line, that is the Chevy Bolt EV, the red one right here, that's the Honda Civic. And way up here, that is that Tesla Model Y. We're also, let's see, let's make sure we're not figuring in any tax incentives. So we got no tax incentives on this particular example. That's just a pretty big difference in price between our more entry-level cars and then that very nice, luxurious Tesla Model Y. And you can see the blue line and the green line parallel each other because that's just the cost every year for fueling up the vehicle with electricity, but a very modest cost, whereas it's going up a lot more with that Honda Civic. And again, if we look back at our cost savings, basically I'm saving over $1,000 per year. Now, I'm only charting this out for 8 years because I know somebody is going to say something like, yeah, but how much does it cost to replace a battery pack in an electric car? Well, for starters, that's not the right question. The right question is, what may it cost to replace an electric car battery sometime in the future if you actually do have to replace it? So the Bolt has a 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So I just charted it out to 8 years because we're just not accounting for theoretical battery replacement or anything, just like we're also not counting for a theoretical transmission replacement in that Honda Civic. And if we charted this out for a longer amount of time, we would see additional fuel savings, of course. So if we look at these final numbers after 8 years, basically we're paying $28,400 for the Chevy Bolt EV, $36,700 for the Honda Civic, and $69,400 for that Tesla Model Y. So you can see the differences in price here, even though the Bolt and the Civic start off being almost identical price. The Bolt gets cheaper much faster, and after 8 years, there's more than an $8,000 difference. We're saving over $1,000 per year in electricity. With that Tesla, we never catch up in terms of fuel savings versus cost. So don't buy an expensive electric car to save money on gas. That doesn't make sense. Just the math doesn't work out. There's a lot of other great reasons. If you were going to buy a car in that same price range anyways, absolutely buy a Tesla Model Y. It's a great car. And then you'll be saving fuel also and having all the other advantages of just the nice car that it is. And let's take one more look here at fueleconomy.gov. One thing that I like about this web page is it gives you this side-by-side comparison. So you can add in different cars. I've just got these 3 added in here. And then it gives you general information about their fuel economy, what it's going to cost, kind of generically over 5 years, and a cost of what it's going to cost to drive 25 miles, fill up the tank size, things like that. But if you look right down here, there's a little button that says personalize, and you can click that. And when you go in there, now you can adjust the number of miles that you drive per year. You can adjust the number of miles, start and stop traffic, freeway versus city driving, what your fuel is. So if we're looking at electricity, we can go in and change the cost of electricity to whatever it is when you're charging your electric vehicle. And then personalize this. And now all these numbers here will have been adjusted to give you a much more exact number in what you can expect to fuel your vehicle, whether it's gas, diesel, electric, or whatever. Now, that doesn't give you the option that I had here where you get your cool little chart right there and everything, but it's pretty cool to be able to go straight to a web page and figure a lot of this out pretty quick. A lot of people think that electric vehicles are expensive, and certainly there are some expensive ones, but there's more and more affordable electric vehicles all the time. And even if it's not quite as inexpensive as a gas vehicle, the moment you start realizing the savings from the fueling and from not having to do oil changes and other maintenance, right away your total cost of ownership is lower. and stays lower, which is pretty fantastic. Now, if you want to do your own numbers, that spreadsheet, I do have that saved. You can get it over at 300mpg.org. Just follow the link in the video description. Go over and get it. Punch your own information in there. Having an electric car makes a ton of sense for me. I love it. Does it make sense for you? I can't tell you that. But punch in some of that info, and you can at least see if it makes financial sense for you right now. So I hope this taught you a little bit more about the wonderful world of electric vehicles and what some of the costs are or are not. I hope you like these videos. Please check everything out over at 300mpg.org. And until next time, stay charged up.